Hey everyone, welcome back to Turner Talk with Deputy Robert Curvin, Episode 2. I'm Deputy Robert Curvin, coming to you right here in Centerville, South Dakota. Appreciate you all tuning in again, and I appreciate all the messages, questions, and comments after Episode 1. Today we're hitting three big topics, and we're doing it with the spirit of America's 250th birthday still in the air. First, I want to clear up something from last week's episode about the Yankton County Sheriff's Office equipment and how they obtained it. The Yankton County Sheriff reached out, and we're going to make sure everyone's on the same page with that. Second, we'll break down driver's license point systems. Does South Dakota have one? How does North Dakota handle it? We're lining them up side by side so you know exactly where things stand on the road. Third, Senate Bill 2 officially went into effect July 1st, and we're going to talk about what changed and why it matters. As we roll into July 5th, the fireworks smoke is still hanging in the air. America just celebrated 250 years. The 4th of July lit up communities across the country, and right here at home, Tornado Days in Centerville, South Dakota is wrapping up with another great weekend of small town pride and tradition. Then we'll close out the show with a couple of questions from you, the community, and a recap of the last few days here in Centerville, South Dakota. Before we begin, I do need to provide a formal disclaimer. Any questions, stories, or experience submitted to this podcast are treated as strictly anonymous. I do not collect names, personal identifiers, or any information that could reasonably be used to identify an individual. Nothing shared here will ever be disclosed in a manner that could be traced back to you. This platform is intended solely for general discussion, education, and transparency. Additionally, I am not an attorney, and I repeat that I am not an attorney, and nothing discussed on this podcast should be interpreted as legal advice. All commentary related to law enforcement is based on my professional experience and information available through public record. For any situations requiring legal guidance or interpretations of the law, listeners, you should consult a licensed attorney or a qualified legal professional. With that being said, let's jump in right into segment one. First things first, I want to clear up what I said in episode 1 last time. I talked about Yankton County Sheriff's Office equipment, and I mentioned that it came from the Federal Traffic Overtime Program. After talking with the Yankton County Sheriff this past week, he explained that some of what I said was not factual, such as the dash cameras were the only things that came from the program. The body cameras were bought using donation to the Sheriff's Office, and the in-car computers also came from a donation. So I apologize to him and to you guys for the misinformation. So moving right along here, we'll jump right into the driver's license point systems. I've received this question a lot throughout my career when I've cited somebody for speeding. Does South Dakota have a point system, or how many points are going to go on my license? Or I've heard that North Dakota has a point system. What's the difference between North Dakota and South Dakota? So let's break that down. Here in South Dakota, yes, there is a point system, but it's not the traditional kind that you might think of. Instead, it uses a violation-based suspension model, meaning your license can be suspended based on the severity or frequency of certain convictions. And that's the key word in this, it's convictions. Here's how it works. Drivers who accrue 15 points in 12 consecutive months or 22 points in 24 consecutive months are subject to license suspension. Major violations like driving under the influence, which gets you 10 points, reckless driving, which gets you 8 points, or even eluding law enforcement, which gets you 6 points, can quickly push driver toward a suspension. Other violations include drag racing, 6 points, failure to yield right away, 4 points, improper passing is 4 points, stop sign or stoplight violations, that's 3 points, other moving violations accumulate to 2 points. So while South Dakota technically has a point system, it's designed to flag major violations and repeat offenders rather than track every infraction, and does not include any speed violations other than the illegal drag racing. Down in North Dakota, on the other hand, uses the traditional point system. Each violation points add to your license. 12 points, your license is suspended. And this information I was able to look up myself in talking to to a good friend of mine up in North Dakota, the deputy up there. She's rocking it. She may be on the show at a later date. But the one thing about North Dakota, points can be reduced over time or through approved driver improvement courses. Now, with speed violations, also carry point values depending on how far over the limit you were. So, for example, in zones of 65 mile per hour or less, I'm just going to go through their whole thing here. 1 to 10 miles per hour over, you don't get any points in North Dakota. 11 to 15 miles per hour over, you get 1 point. 16 to 20 miles per hour over, you get 3 points. 21 to 25 miles per hour, you get 5 points. 26 to 35 miles per hour, you get 9 points. 36 to 45 miles per hour, which is 12 points. And 46 plus miles per hour over the speed limit, you get 15 points. Now, they have a whole separate bracket with this as well. In zones of 65 miles per hour or over 65 miles per hour, you start off 1 to 5 miles per hour is 0 points. Remember in the last one, when you were less than 65, 1 to 10, which would be like, say you were driving, the speed limit was 55, 1 to 10. If you're going 65 and 55, you don't get any points for the bracket before. In this one, if the speed limit is 70 and you're going 80, or you're going 75, you get no points, but 6 to 10 miles per hour over, you get 1 point. So if you're going, it's a 70 mile per hour zone, you're going 80, you got 1 point on your driver's license. 11 to 15 over, 3 points. 16 to 20 over the speed limit, 5 points. 21 to 25 over the speed limit, 7 points. 26 to 30 miles per hour, 10 points. 35 miles over the speed limit, 12 points. 36 plus is 15 points. So the key difference on those two brackets is you get a little bit more leniency when the speed limits are, the posted speed limit is lower than 65, but if it's higher than 65, they're going to hit you with the points really quickly. So South Dakota focuses on the severity and repetition. Sorry about that. Repetition. Catching high-risk drivers quickly. North Dakota focuses on the cumulative behavior, tracking overall driving habits over time. Both systems work, they just take different approaches. So if you're driving in South Dakota, don't worry about points, worry about avoiding the kind of violations that can get your license suspended outright. In North Dakota, keep your eye on the points because they can stack up very fast and a lot quicker than you think. So with that being said, we're talking about South Dakota, right? It's more of those major violations. Myself, I have a lot of experience writing citations on those. DUIs is a major topic across the country, not just South Dakota, not just North Dakota, but you can see why the accidents, the deaths that have caused by people being under the influence, it's not a good thing. So again, South Dakota, you're going to want to focus on not getting those major infractions. Come to complete stops. Stop at stoplights. Don't drag race your friends down a county road. Like, that's the kind of stuff that's going to actually give you points, and those points will add up eventually to you being a suspended driver. North Dakota, yeah, speed counts in it. So you want to make sure that you're not speeding because every citation, it adds up, and it adds up fast. So we're going to take a short break here, and then when we come back, we'll jump into Senate Bill 2. Yeah, we'll talk about that. So enjoy a short music break here, you guys, and we'll see you back here in a little bit. All right, moving right back along here. Welcome back to Turner Talk with Deputy Robert Curvin. Again, I'm Robert Curvin. All right, segment 3 here is Senate Bill 2. It went it went into effect July 1st. Okay. Um, we're going to talk about it a little bit and what it actually means for South Dakota here and you as the public and how we can go forward. Okay. So, Senate Bill 2 removes firearms silencers or suppressors, depending on if you're a firearms instructor like myself, a suppressor, or a gun guy, suppressor. A silencer, it's a title, it's a brand name. A suppressor is what it actually is. But according to law, I'm going to read it as it says. So, again, Senate Bill 2 removes firearms silencer suppressors from South Dakota's definition of controlled weapons. Before this bill, silencers or suppressors were lumped in with machine guns and short barreled shotguns, meaning possession could be a Class 6 felony unless you fit into one of those narrow exceptions that the law said before. SB 2 is what we'll going forward call it. Senate Bill 2 is SB 2. That changes that. Under state laws, silencers or suppressors are now treated like a standard firearms accessory. So, like an optic or a weapon light, or if it's on a rifle, a sling, a foregrip. So, possession alone of a silencer or suppressor is no longer a crime. But, and this is important, it's a huge but, federal law has not changed at all on this. Silencers and suppressors are still regulated under the National Firearms Act, which means you will still need an ATF approval. You will still need the tax stamp. You'll still need a background check, and you'll still need the federal registration. Excuse my words right there. You're going to need federal registration. SB 2 does not override any of that. So federally, you still got to jump through all the hoops. All it does is simply removes the state level criminal penalty. Now, why does that matter for law enforcement or even you, the public? On law enforcement side here, we may see that we'll encounter silencers or suppressors more often. But for us, possession alone no longer is probable cause for a state charge. As a firearms instructor, I'll say this: silencers and suppressors are not the Hollywood assassin tool people imagine they are. Their primary purpose is hearing protection, reduce noise, pollution, and improving shooter safety. Many states have already moved in this direction, including some law enforcement agencies here in South Dakota. And now the state of South Dakota is now aligned with that trend. But again, federal compliance is still mandatory. Now, shifting into our community questions, we'll go with the first question. It's kind of more of a statement and then a question here. So, this listener goes, I believe my daughter has gotten into an abusive relationship. I'm afraid for her and her kids. The guy she is involved with has been very fast at cutting her off from support, her family, and friends. What advice do you have for me, or what can I do? This is a serious and important question, you guys. I want to approach this with care. When someone suddenly becomes isolated, when a partner starts limiting contact with family, friends, or anybody who provides support, those are well recognized warning signs of an unhealthy or potentially abusive situation. In circumstances like this, the most important thing for family members is to stay steady and stay connected and keep communication open. People in controlling relationships often feel trapped, shamed, unsure of where to turn. Claim a calm, consistent, persistent presence from your family can make a meaningful difference. And I'll repeat that again. A calm, consistent presence from the family can make a meaningful difference. You've already taken the strong first step by paying close attention to what's happening with your daughter. continuing to offer her support without judgment, and make sure your daughter knows she has a safe place to reach out if she needs to. If at any point you believe that she or the children are in immediate danger, you can contact the Turner County Sheriff's Office and request a welfare check. You can remain anonymous, but provide as much information about the situation as you can to the deputies or the sheriff or whoever answers the phone. Throughout my career, I've responded to situations that raise concerns. I've reached out to domestic violence shelters and shared what I've observed, and together we worked on plans to make the person involved have access to the help, resources, and support that they need. There are professionals in this county and across the state who deal with these situations every day, and they know how to respond safely and effectively. I just want to let you know your concern is valid, and your thoughtful, measured approach is exactly what will help your family navigate difficult moments like this. All right, so that one was a little bit more of a heavy one and could potentially a dangerous situation, and I hope that does help. So we'll go into the next community question here. I had a guy that was working for me take off with my truck. I say he was working for me because he took the truck while he was still employed by me and never returned. The registration expires at the end of the month. What are my options? I have the title and I know where the truck is located, and found out that the ex-employee has an active warrant. How much trouble would I get into if I just repossessed it myself? All right, here's the deal. Under South Dakota law, if an employee takes your truck without permission, it doesn't come back to work, and now it has and also has an active warrant, this is no longer a repossession issue. It's an unauthorized use of a motor vehicle under South Dakota Codified Law 2230A-8. Because you're the titled owner and didn't give consent, law enforcement can step in and help recover the vehicle. South Dakota's repossession statute, South Dakota Codified Law 57A-9-609, only applies when there's a loan or a security interest. That's not the case here, so self-help repossession does not apply. And even if it did, the law still requires repossession to happen without breach of peace. And breach of peace is basically you can't go onto somebody's private property and get your property back. So with the law saying that that's not allowed, it's very easy for you yourself to violate it if you try to take the truck yourself. Your safe and most lawful option in this contact your local sheriff's office or police department. Report the unauthorized use and let the deputies or officers handle the recovery, especially since the individual already has a warrant. That keeps you protected and keeps everything within South Dakota law. All right, so we're going to take another short break here, you guys. We went through a couple community questions, and next we will go through and talk about Centerville and tornado days. So here's a quick break. I'm going to grab some water, and I'll get back with you guys here shortly. All right, welcome back. We're going into our last segment here today. Tornado Days recap. Man, what a week in Centerville. Tornado Days 2026 is just wrapping up today. And if you're anywhere near town, you could feel the energy, the flags flying, grills sizzling, and folks celebrating America's 250th birthday in true South Dakota style. Things kicked off Wednesday with the America 250 public art dedication downtown, a great way to start the celebration, followed by the South Dakota amateur baseball game under the lights. Thursday brought a Rotary Club lunch fundraiser, food trucks in the park, and plenty of laughs at the dunk tank. Then came kickball, volleyball, and live music at Peddlers Park to close out the night. Friday was packed with the alumni golf tournament, youth disc golf, and the always popular pub crawl. And if you were downtown that evening, you probably seen me and my family as we attended the Fireman's Street Dance with live performance from my good friend and former Chief of Police of Centerville, Nolan Clark, and his band, the Nolan Clark Band. The kind of night that reminds you why small town summers are the best. Saturday night, the 4th of July, was pure Americana. The color run, kids fun run, and parade that stretched down Broadway with red, white, and blue everywhere you looked. The afternoon brought car shows, lawnmower races, and Tornado Alley talent contests. Centerville showing off some of its hometown talent. And today, Sunday, Tornado Days wraps up with worship, brunch, and family fun. Ken's lined up for the tractor pedal pull, the ATV/golf cart poker run will roll through town, and the evening will honor veterans before the Legends softball game tonight. Then, as the sun goes down, the fireworks will light up the sky, an even bigger display of America's 250th birthday. It's been a week of friends, family, and freedom, and Centerville showed once again how to do it right. Now, before we leave today, I'm going to go through my formal disclosure again with you guys. Any questions, stories, or experience submitted to this podcast are treated as strictly anonymous. I do not collect names, personal identifiers, or any information that could reasonably be used to identify an individual. Nothing shared here will ever be disclosed in a manner that could be traced back to you. This platform is intended solely for general discussion, education, and transparency. Additionally, I am not an attorney. And again, I am not an attorney. And nothing discussed on this podcast should be interpreted as legal advice. All commentary related to law enforcement is based on my professional experience and research and information available through public record. For any situations requiring legal guidance or interpretation of the law, listeners should consult a licensed attorney or a qualified legal professional. All right, you guys, stay safe, stay smart, stay informed. If you got questions, topics you want covered, or something you want clarified, send them my way. This podcast is about keeping our community informed and grounded. This has been Turner Talk with Deputy Robert Curvin. Thanks you all for listening, and I'll catch you on the next episode. And to my brothers and sisters in blue, remember, we're not better because we wear the badge, but we have to be better because we wear the badge. Good night, you guys.
Turn Talk with Deputy Robert Curvin. Turn Talk with Deputy Robert Curvin. Turn Talk with Deputy Robert Curvin. Turn Talk with Deputy Robert Curvin.